you know what? I'm just going to use the knowledge that I do have now and just kind of just coast by in a way. You know what I mean? Because
I know exactly what you mean. Coast by, be comfortable. That's my point, bro. Like you see what I'm saying? Like
my threshold, I'm not sure what my threshold is, but just for me, the minimum is just working out in the first place.
Is your threshold for your nutrition just coasting?
I would say right now, yes. But I want you to know that it's not something that I don't see. Like, I don't see it lasting forever.
It's funny because, like, I'm sure to the audience, this may seem some type of way, but you're one of my clients, bro. And there's a part of me that has to still keep you accountable to the top 1% version of yourself. When is enough enough? When are you going to, like, really understand what you're capable of and adopt that responsibility and truly manifest it? Because coasting on your nutrition and saying, but at least I'm working out, I do applaud that. That's better than most people, bro. Like, truly. But, I mean, is that all you want to stay at?
Definitely not.
Because it was the same thing last year. Not only are you my client, but like you're my boy. And these are the conversations that, again, is this any different than what we'd have post-workout?
Not at all. And I knew I was going to, you were going to bring me something that was going to make me uncomfortable. But I know in the long run, it's going to really benefit me. Like I said,
the champion mindset. And that's why people couldn't stand Michael Jordan. Because they were like, they're like, bro, we can't be you. And he's like, well, I don't care. Try your hardest to be the best you. Not only is change needed, listen, change is inevitable. It's inevitable.
We're back at the post-workout podcast. We got Danny Campos back in the building.
This is crazy. I'm so glad to be back, honestly.
Yeah, man. Third time.
It's crazy to think about, like, holy crap. And it's crazy to be back for a third time because I was just thinking about it recently, how the last 2 times I was here and thinking about how different each time I was on here was. The first time we did this episode, I was so uncertain of myself and so insecure that thinking about it now, what I was saying, I was not self-aware of what I was saying that at that time. I was like, what am I saying? Like, I didn't understand the magnitude of what my words meant. The second time I came around, it was just me starting to come into that certainty and starting to become more comfortable with myself, and it's safe to say that this time around, I've been really more certain of who I am and being comfortable in my own skin.
Heck yeah, man. Do you still, I see you're back in the gym. I see you're still skateboarding. That's good. Yeah. You're maintaining that discipline, committing to something and being consistent in that commitment.
Mm-hmm.
What's your eating and nutrition look like?
When it comes to that, by your standards, still not the best, but
by my standards,
just because I know how much you preach that, how much.
But what do you qualify my standards as being?
Keeping track of all the macronutrients, all that stuff. Personally, I haven't really.
I don't think you got to keep track of all that. I think when it comes to your macronutrients, you need to have a base understanding of what your 4 macronutrients are, which is your caloric intake, your proteins, your carbs, and your fats. And just by knowing how much of those you relatively need every day to attain and achieve whatever your base goal is, that's all my standard really is. I don't think you have to do anything any more or less than even like tracking how much water you drink. It's just more things to consider. Yeah. But I'm assuming you're not tracking your macronutrients.
No, but the thing is, now I'm able to keep in mind of what I'm taking in. For example, I make sure to get my protein in just a good decent amount. Usually,
how much?
I'd say close to at least 100 a day. At least, just that's the bare minimum I try to get every day. Just keeping that in mind. And then carbs, that's way too easy. You can get that anywhere. Fats, haven't kept too much of, but honestly, I haven't really kept track of it for my own sake. Just for the fact that my relationship with food has been an up and down battle, just because of like from overweight, eating a lot, to losing all that weight and not eating enough, to keeping track and like associating it with how my physical looks and interpreting that into
like your self-worth.
Yeah, my self-worth. That makes sense. Like, if I don't get enough protein, then my
body's not going to be as muscular. And
that's what it was. And I was like, I realized now that was really mentally messing me up. And recently too, I realized that a lot of my life, when it came to working out, eating right, and I was doing all that, but the problem was I wasn't doing it for myself. I was doing it for others. Yeah. And like a couple months ago, I just kind of stopped doing it because I lost motivation. It's like, why am I even doing it? And I went 2 or 3 months without working out, eating none of that stuff. And then one day I just woke up and my body was just screaming at me, being like, get back in the gym. You have to do something. Otherwise, you're going to regret it. And I listened to it and I just said, you know what? I'm just going to at least keep myself in the gym and keep active because it feels good. And I know it's going to benefit me because I've worked out pretty much half of my life. And I'm like, I know what it feels like. It feels good. Just at least do it for yourself and get back into the swing of it.
So you've worked out. So it's safe to say you've worked out for nearly half your life, or just a long majority of life. I'm not trying to be like I'm not trying to be a stickler about this. I'm just trying to do a deduction for you. Is it safe to say you've worked out for more than 10 years?
Getting close to it.
Getting close to it because about when you were 15, right? You're 25 now, right?
Yeah. I actually started working out when I was 14. So yeah, half of my life.
So 10.
Close.
Yeah. Well, I'm saying 10 plus years at least, right? How many years have you been eating clean?
Eating clean, I didn't start learning about it until I would say 5 years in.
Okay.
So 2011 was when I was 14. I started working out my freshman year of high school. When it came to all the protein and carbs and everything like that, it was just I had to stick to it. So disciplined. I got to do it and be really committed to it. Not realizing that I was, it was mentally messing me up because I wasn't aware of anything. I had no self-awareness.
Like the macronutrients and stuff?
And no, just like
of what food does to your body relative to working out.
That and just balance. You know what I mean?
Balancing what? The working out and food? Or
the food.
Or just clean and bad food?
Clean and bad food.
Okay.
Because I was just be so committed to eating clean that I was limiting myself like hardcore, like the social aspect of it.
This is when you were like 20?
About 1920.
1920.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and it was like, at the time I was like, I'm so committed to this, not knowing that it was just very extreme. Like we talked about on the last podcast, how I had that mindset of just being so extreme, one or the other, that like I couldn't find that happy medium. You know what I mean?
A sustainable medium.
Nah. Right. And this whole fitness journey I've had, it's all been in hindsight, not really sustainable because it's always been one extreme or the other.
Right.
And right now, I think it's kind of that restart where I'm just kind of like, trying to understand how to sustain it.
Right.
And first of all, it's just working out for myself. First of all, like recently, like I work out minimum 3 times a week, whether it's working out my upper body, lower body, or boxing. That I've been really trying to keep up on, especially since we haven't really been in here in months, but I've been really trying to work on my 1, 2, 3, 4s, kind of finding that happy medium and just making sure that I'm doing it for myself, The
reason I asked about the nutrition as a base fundamental is because how many hours in a day do you work out typically?
About an hour max.
And how many hours in a day are you supposed to be eating and digesting food technically?
24 hours. It's just nonstop,
Nonstop. So if you had to prioritize an emphasis on one or the other, which one does it seem like you should emphasize more on?
In hindsight,
I'm not saying, and again, I'm not telling you you're doing anything wrong right now, Danny. I'm just telling you, the whole point of getting out of complacency is getting out of comfort to get uncomfortable, right?
Yeah.
And it's uncomfortable being in the gym and working out relative to sitting on the couch and playing video games, right?
Definitely.
For sure. But for you, working out's pretty comfortable relative to eating clean consistently. See what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's fair to say that it's still something that I'm still trying to understand because I've been on both extreme sides of it, from my childhood when I was just eating nothing but just crappy food and I didn't understand it, just nothing but carbs, overeating.
Right.
And then that other side where I was just so committed.
Right.
And it was so like, I have to stay committed, otherwise I'm going to lose all my gains. And now it's kind of that like, kind of swaying back before be like, you know what, I'm just going to use the knowledge that I do have now and just kind of just coast by in a way. You know what I mean? Because
I know exactly what you mean. Coast by, be comfortable. That's my point, bro. Like you see what I'm saying? Like you do a good job almost telling yourself that, like, and a lot of people do this, especially when you're smart. Like you do a good job telling yourself you're doing enough. Did you see the video on the when I talked about the bell curve distribution with Mo when we talked about being a leader? Did you watch that video or no?
I don't know. I didn't.
Okay,
But
so that video, we just went more in depth on the bell curve distribution and how to be the top 1% version of yourself. The only way to do that is to continually be uncomfortable and to find comfort in that uncomfort by pushing your boundaries nonstop. And it seemed like last time, let's just say from the first podcast to the second, that evolutionary growth, the fall back, the fall down and the comeback was very resemblance of what you're enduring now, which was you fell off optimization, you started with working out, and you pretty much committed the entire getting better, being more disciplined to just the working out. And then that took you so far until it fell off again. I'm asking the degree to which you put an emphasis on nutrition, which it doesn't seem like you've put that much of an emphasis because like you said, you've been coasting, which I get it, brother. Trust me, I get it. But that's really where you're going to see the gains. Not only the gains, the sustainability in the gains. Yeah. Because just the working out is only going to give you a limited extracurricular jubilance and positivity to the degree of the chemicals you release. The endocannabinoids and all the good things you release, the extra dopamine and everything you get from working out is substantiated. But if you eat clean and truly do that consistently, you'll have even more endocannabinoids and even more dopamine from the working out. See what I mean? So the working out is just incomplete without the nutrition. And since there's that ratio on the importance of each relative to how much time is spent on each during the day, I think it's crucial you start really putting a priority on the nutrition.
Yeah. I think when it comes to that, it's like just working out, just with firstly working out. The biggest question I asked myself was, what do I want? Do I want to lose weight? Do I want to gain muscle?
What do you want?
And I'm gonna get into that. It's like, what do I really want? Do I want to gain muscle? Why do I want to gain muscle? What's the main reason? Do I want to lose weight? Well, why do I want to lose weight? Different things like that. And I had this realization too, that the reason why I wanted to have that stage of gaining muscle in the first place was for others.
To impress other people.
Yeah. Like
namely females.
Yeah. And just being like, oh yeah, like, and so many times I was like, I would question it. And same thing with like losing weight, which hasn't been the biggest worry, but it's mostly been gaining muscle. But it was really just because of just like wanting to impress others. And now I'm just like, what do I really want? And I'm like, you know what? I'm not so set on gaining muscle, gaining all this craziness. Just like, I'm just like, the minimum at least is just to keep myself active because, like I said,
I respect that.
Because the gaining muscle, man, it's like, I used to convince myself that, I'm gonna be more confident with my muscle if I get really jacked and big. And I was so committed, but then like it would make me so unhappy. Like I just wasn't having that confidence, just like doing all that. And in no way am I trying to discredit, working out, eating right, all that stuff. This is just from my own personal experience. I just wasn't happy.
But you weren't happy with regards to the foundation of the goal, which was doing it for others and not yourself. Yeah. But now that we've gotten that taken care of, now that you're doing it for yourself, do you see why for yourself it's disingenuous to only commit to the part that you're comfortable with, which is working out?
It's something that I think that I'm still figuring out, which is like you've always preached, and I really keep it in mind, as Rome wasn't built in a day. And the working out is still something I'm still figuring out. And like now recently, just with the working out part, I don't go in there overthinking stuff.
Right. And that's the perfect part, because now again, you found out that why am I even coming in here in the first place? It's I can be better. Yeah. So you can be better.
And it's my escape. And like, it's funny because I was watching your video with you, Raymond and Rob. And it's funny because I think Rob said something about how every single day, you want to optimize your day as much as you can, but the threshold can switch up every here and there. But even attempting to reach that threshold, even just a little bit, or if you make it all the way, that's all, that's all that matters. Just even trying to reach that threshold, wherever it's at, whether it's all the way up high or if it's kind of middle or down low.
Just trying your best.
Yeah. And that's what, like, my threshold, I'm not sure what my threshold is, but just for me, the minimum is just working out in the first place.
Is your threshold for your nutrition just coasting?
I would say right now, yes. But but I want you to know that it's not something that I don't see, like, I don't see it lasting forever.
It's funny because, like, I'm sure to the audience, this may seem some type of way, but you're one of my clients, bro. And there's a part of me that has to still keep you accountable to the top 1% version of yourself. And we haven't talked in forever. And there's a reason, like, there's a reason why I've even been communicating with you a certain way, bro, because you have to truly realize, like, when is enough enough? When are you going to, like, really understand what you're capable of and adopt that responsibility and truly manifest it? Because coasting on your nutrition and saying, but at least I'm working out, I do applaud that. That's better than most people, bro. Like, truly. But, I mean, is that all you want to stay at?
Definitely not.
Because it was the same thing last year. And it's not about looking a certain way. And again, absorb all this before we respond. Have you seen me falter in an inconsistent manner since you've known me? Like, honestly.
You stayed pretty, you've always been yourself. You've always staying true to living in your truth.
Do I maintain a certain level of consistency in my energy and my efforts?
Always.
The only reason I do that is because I know the minute I falter, whether that is the same, like Raymond was, or like Rob was saying, the degree to which you actually achieve that dub each day is always going to be variable, but attempting and trying your best each day to reach that goal and reach that dub is really all that matters. The reason why truly you can answer yes to both those questions is because I at least try every day to be comfortable in the uncomfort of being in the top 1% version of yourself. And so when I ask you little things like, what's more important, your nutrition or your fitness? What do you think you should prioritize more of your focus? What should you focus and prioritize more of your time and effort and energy on? Your nutrition or your fitness? And every time it's the same answer as last year, which is I want to do what makes me comfortable and what makes me happy. And as men, you will find, as just humans, you will find so much more fulfillment and gratification overcoming things you don't want to do and that doesn't make you happy. But you can't overcome that unless you put yourself in a position to endure that uncomfortable suffering and unhappiness. But if you stay doing just what makes you comfortable, Danny, you're going to reap the same results and the same rewards year after year, decade after decade, day after day, month after month.
Honestly, yeah. I mean, the only thing I can think about is how am I going to be able to overcome the mental struggle of the nutrition part? That's the only thing that comes to my mind, because that's really what it comes down to, is the mental struggle of it.
What is it about eating clean other than the extremes, other than your experience of only enduring the extremes? Like at the beginning, you even connotating and associating my standard as this extreme standard is an indicator of your projection of your insecurity on what my standard actually is. And I've helped enough people with the bare minimum of tracking their macronutrients and fixing their diet and nutrition to truly understand the effort and workload it takes relative to the things they do every single day, especially parents, like people that have children. They understand what actual hard work, being uncomfortable, and responsibility and sacrifice is because they do that with their children if they're good parents.
Mm-hmm.
You're not a parent. You don't really have severe responsibilities outside of a day job. So the question is, and dude, you got so much potential. I was blaring "Is It Bad" for a minute until like you started irritating me, and then I had to stop playing it. Think about that.
How did I do that? It's just I didn't know that.
I know you didn't know that, but my communication and us not training should be an indicator of truly where we stand. I'm not going to waste time with people that are going to live in insanity, thinking they're in the top 1%, but just thinking it, not doing it. Dude, that song was a banger. I blared that for a minute. But guess what? I started associating then the song with your actions. Because do you think, that even the girl that you did the song with, like, is she still writing music? Like, do you think she's still putting in time and effort into her craft? Like, you got to ask yourself, is that something you really want to do? Because if it is, are you putting in the time and the effort to truly be uncomfortable to make it in that craft?
Mm-hmm. It's funny you say that too, because I had this sit down with myself and I really had to ask myself the harder questions. Do I really want to do this? Do I want to make music? Do I want to act? Do I want to do this? Do I want to do that? And I really had to be brutally honest with myself. And to be honest with you, like I said, I don't see myself really going hard at this, like something for fun. And as sad as it is to think about in my head, I'm like, the reason is because I get so easily burnt out from it, trying to put so much pressure on myself.
Why?
It stems from the fact that having fun, I feel like just enjoying it firstly out of anything is enjoying it as the foundation. A lot of times when I would do that, I wouldn't put that as my foundation. Trying to blow up and be desired and being famous was the foundation of it all. You know what I mean? Wanting to be looked at. And that's what I did for a lot of times. And I was able to do it. I was like, oh, I want people to look. I want to be desired.
Doing it for others.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I had to ask myself, like, does it really, am I doing it for this or for that? And in no way, it's not me saying, oh, I hate it. I enjoy it. But I ask myself, am I enjoying it for the wrong reasons?
Are you enjoying it, again, to impress and for yourself, or to impress and do it for others?
I was using it as a way to reach those and impress others by a character instead of myself.
Exactly.
You know, like
who you think they want you to be versus you being who you actually are.
Yeah. And when it comes back to the potential, the one thing I've realized, and I've actually thought about this, and I've actually cried a couple of times thinking about it, is understanding my own potential. And it's still something I'm trying to grasp on. And I've had moments recently where I'm like, I'm starting to understand my potential more and more. And right now, coasting by, no way, I'm not saying that this is what's going to be like. It's just right now, it's just understanding more and more of that potential, little by little by little. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but you say so much great things, and then you end up caveating it with, but right now I'm going to be chilling. Like, but right now I'm still figuring it out. That's all. You're always figuring it out. You're always having to like that's the point, bro. I think you a lot of the times get caught up in the one day versus day one. And you think that just because you're starting today, that's going to change the fact that tomorrow is going to be another day one. And then the day after that's going to be another day one. And you almost get burnt out thinking about the whole picture before it even comes. So it makes it easier to say, well, then if I don't succeed, I can excuse the fact that I've been coasting. So I didn't really fail because I didn't really try my hardest. And I'm not saying you're doing all this consciously. A lot of this is unconscious, self-destructive behaviors because you haven't gone out into the world and conquered some shit. You haven't gone out into the world and shown what you're capable of and actually manifesting that potential. Many opportunities to move up as a waiter, but we stay comfortable. Why? Because you can put headphones on and you can do what you're continually comfortable. You continually do what you're comfortable doing because that's what you've been doing. I don't want to, again, because not only are you my client, but like you're my boy. And these are the conversations that, again, is this any different than what we'd have post-workout?
Not at all. And I knew I was going to, you were going to bring me something that was going to make me uncomfortable. But I know in the long run, it's going to really benefit me. Like I said, it was something I'm still understanding. All this different advice I'm getting is something that I'm just learning how to incorporate into my own life. And I made some mistakes. It's all about,
you always will.
Yeah. And that's part of life. And, I know that going back to my potentials, like I'm knowing that it's not going to be like this forever. You know what I mean? And I know that the one day versus day one is something that's still like it's something that I'm still understanding. I want you to know that.
I know, bro.
It's like
Rome was built in a day. It's a day-by-day process.
It's fair to say that right now the foundation to the Roman Colosseum is underway.
For sure, bro.
Is it bad to feel the way that I do? Is it bad to feel the way that feels true? Is it bad that I'm in love? Is it bad that I fell hard? Is it bad that you